Hello Year 4. Today we are looking back through our text from the Day Explorer, Meet the Woman Who Might Be Shakespeare, and your question is, can I infer information from a text? So we've been looking a lot about inference, so I'd like you to pause the video and write down what you remember inference means. Perfect. So inference is coming to a conclusion based on reasoning and evidence. It's something that isn't told to us explicitly through a text. So we're making what's called educated guesses. I have a question here. Why does the time period affect people's view of Shakespeare's writing? So, to do this, we need to think about what the article has told us. So we've got Shakespeare, who is a man, and apparently there are some people arguing that a woman has actually written a great majority of his work, if not all of it. So, at the time, as we know from the text, women were not allowed to write plays. However, they were allowed to write poetry, at least in England. So the time period has a massive effect on what an artist or a writer could do. Now, to answer this question, I'm going to look through some very, very key ideas that I am well aware of. So, what do we know about Shakespeare and Amelia Bassano? I know that, for example, they were both alive at the same time and wrote poetry. That's one thing I can say for certain that I know about these two people. So why was the Elizabethan period so different compared to today? Well, at the time, I know that women were not allowed to write plays, but men were. And that's really important because, as we know, Amelia Bassano was a woman. So the fact that she wouldn't have been allowed to write plays, especially if you're an amazing playwright, would be a huge problem. So how has the author used language to infer what we know about Shakespeare? So, I know that Shakespeare was considered a genius, but he had a lot of great, even, female, if I help if I could spell, female characters. And I'll just extend this box out so we can see all those answers, like so. And these are all things that I've learnt from the text. So why does the time period affect people's view of Shakespeare's writing? Well, because at the time, only men were allowed to write, which means that people, especially women, would have been really unhappy, which is why it would make sense that someone who was a woman could use a man's name, a pseudonym. That means a fake name. And that is what Shakespeare might have been for Amelia Bassano. So the time period is really, really important. And a lot of fans of Shakespeare's work today will say it's more than possible that someone else could have been Shakespeare. And then other people will say, well, maybe it doesn't matter whether he was a man or a woman. The important thing is that the plays were amazing. So, you're going to reread the text for me and think about inference questions. So these are questions that I ask a lot. I'd like you to pause the video and try and answer these again. See if you get the same answers as you would before. So why has the author not just told us, the reader, what they mean? Are there answers to questions that don't just tell us what we want to know? And what can we understand from the way the text is written? So pause the video, give those a go for me. Your worksheets look like this. So bronze, I've given you sections of the text to help you with your inference. So here are your questions, and here are the little snippets of text that I've given you to help you guide you through the reading. So you can look and try and pick evidence out from sections of the text. Silver, your task is to read through the text again, highlight and take away any information, and then infer what does the author mean by this? What do we know about Shakespeare? What do we know about Amelia? What do we know about the time period? And how has the author centered these to give us an idea of their argument? Finally, gold. Very much the same. I want you to infer constantly with your answers, and I would like you to explain it. If you find evidence in the text, put that evidence in the text as well. Something that shows me that you have identified an area and you've used a quote. Really explain your answers and explore why you've put them. Your challenge question is, what inference questions could you create about this article? Are there any on there that you think, Mr. Brooke, I could easily ask this question because it doesn't explicitly tell me, but I know the answer would be this. Have you got any for yourself? And you can share them with your classmates or share them with me, and maybe I can share them with the classmates as well. Last 5 minutes of the lesson, the plenary. Are there any plays that you have seen? If not, are there any you would like to? So Shakespeare is very famous for writing plays. You might not have seen a Shakespeare play, per se. You might have seen a play from another amazing writer. Or you might not have seen a play, but you really, really want to. What do you think? I'm really interested in seeing your answers. Thank you very much for your time, Year 4. You've got this. Stay safe, and we will speak soon. Bye.